The New York Mets are making big moves. They have signed Canha, Starling Marte, and Eduardo Escobar each to deals. They are spending big in the free agent hitting market right now. And in today's video, that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm also going to talk about how Marcus Stroman said the Mets don't want him. And we're going to talk all about that in today's video. Basically everything about the New York Mets because they're making moves right now. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do in today's video. But before I get into this video, 85% of you that watch these videos are not subscribed. So go ahead, get your life together, hit that subscribe button, turn notifications, and leave a like on this video. Subscribe, turn notifications, and leave a like. And let's go ahead and get into this video. So, like I said, the Mets are making some big moves. And I particularly like these moves by the Mets. This signals to me one thing, that the Mets are spending in the hitting market is that they're going to go after some big market pitching, which means that Michael Conforto, Javier Baez, I don't think are coming back. I don't think either of those guys are coming back. I think they filled that void. And I doubt they put Robinson Cano on the bench just because of how much they're paying him per year and all that stuff. I just doubt they put him on the bench, realistically, and that's where Javi Baez is going to be playing next year. They still have that Robinson Cano contract, and that's probably the worst in the league right now that they can't get off of. So yeah, that's today, but their starting rotation right now is pretty terrible, especially without Stroman and Syndergaard. That's where really the depth was. And right now, they've got DeGrom and Walker, which are two very solid starters. DeGrom obviously being the best in baseball. But Walker's more of a 3 or a 4. Carrasco for sure is not a 3 anymore. He's probably like a 4 or 5, realistically. And then they've got Miguel and Peterson. So I think they need at least two top end starting pitchers. They should definitely think about signing somebody like Marcus Stroman back. But their bullpen, I think, is fine. I think that they can deal with their bullpen. I think that the bullpen is pretty solid, actually, with Lugo, May, and Miguel Castro and Diaz. I think that that's a pretty solid bullpen. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the moves that they made. The first one is Marte Canha, who's going to slide in left field. Going to be a pretty solid player for the Mets. The Mets they haven't really had the best outfield production over the last few years, and Marte Canha definitely helps that. Now, for the traditional baseball fan, he's not going to hit for a high average, which is going to turn a lot of people off. Simple. He was the 7th round pick by the then Florida Marlins back in 2010. He's 32 years old right now. Is a 2-year contract worth $26 million and a 2024 option. So in 2021, he posted 17 home runs, 61 RBIs, and a 231 batting average, a 358 on base percentage, and 387 slugging, and a 746 OPS. He did hit particularly well off the off-speed door breaking pitches this year. He hit especially well off the fastball this year. So similar batters he is compared to is Yasmani Grandal, Yasiel Puig, JT Realmuto 2018 version, Gajar Lazo in 2018, and Abraham Almonte 2021. And I think this is a pretty solid move. It's not anything great. It's not anything to jump out of your seat about. But Canha can be a pretty solid player for this team. Next up, they signed Eduardo Escobar, who's going to be their third baseman next year. Third base has been a big need for this team. And they got a very, very good third baseman who had a great 2021. He's going to be hitting 7th in that order, which shows the depth of their starting lineup right now. Dominic Smith or J.D. Davis could possibly be trade candidates as well, depending on what happens with the National League DH. If it comes, then Dominic Smith or J.D. Davis one is going to slot in at that DH spot. Probably J.D. Davis, realistically. And Dominic Smith could be on his way out of New York. And Jeff McNeil suddenly went from one of the better players in New York to now just a bench player, basically. So next up is Eduardo Escobar, who had a really good 2021, has a lot of versatility, can play first base, second base, third base. He's 32 as well. And yeah, so he posted 28 home runs, 90 RBIs, a 253 average, a 314 on base percentage, a 472 slugging, and a 786 OPS this year. And that is that leaded him to an All-Star game appearance this year. At 11 seasons, he has 138 home runs, 536 RBIs, a 256 average, a 309 on-base percentage, a 436 slugging, and a 745 OPS. And he didn't hit very well off breaking pitches either, but he hit exceptionally well off the off-speed fastballs. Some similar hitters are Andrew Benintendi 2018. That's the year I'm pretty sure he won Rookie of the Year, if I'm not mistaken. 2019, Kiki Hernandez. And yeah, this is a very solid move. I really like this move. 2 years, $20 million, a third-year club option. I really, really like this move. I think Eduardo Escobar is a great move for this team. Now let's go ahead and get to the biggest move of them all, with them getting Starling Marte. Marte is going to slot in at the top of this order. Slotting in right now as on Fangraphs as it's going to be Nimmo, Marte, Lindor, Alonso, Cano, Canha, Escobar, and McCann. And who knows if they'll be the DH or whatever. But Marte had a really good year, posting in 2021 12 home runs, 55 RBIs, 47 stolen bases, 310 batting average, 383 on base percentage, a 458 slugging, and an 841 OPS. And he's 33 years old right now, so this contract is going to take him into his 37-year-old season, kind of getting into that contract where Billy Epler's been pretty bad before getting into the older contracts. But Starling Marte has shown absolutely no signs of slowing down, kind of like Max Scherzer. They've shown absolutely no signs of slowing down. And if you're talking about an older player that you actually wanted to pay over a long stint, this might be one of the guys that you definitely would want to. He's shown no signs of slowing down, and they're just not catching up to him right now. And this was a very solid move, just for under $20 million a year with 4 years, $78 million. And maybe he'll show signs of slowing down. But he's been really good, and there's no reason to think that he will slow down. He's in the 83rd percentile for sprint speed, outs above average, 82 percentile, 83 in XBA, max X velocity 87th percentile, average exit velocity is only in the 20 percentile. But still, this is a guy that is very, very good, and he played and put up those numbers in two of the least hitter-friendly ballparks there are in Major League Baseball, in Oakland and Miami. Those are two very hard ballparks to play in for a hitter. Very, very hard ballparks. So this helps the Mets a lot, of course. Making these moves boosts their lineup. I don't think they're going to make any other moves to the lineup. I think this is kind of it for the lineup. But these are some really good moves, what they did make to the lineup. And they're looking at a very good lineup with some good depth pieces if you don't trade them on the bench. And their starting rotation, though, is very shaky, like I've already mentioned. I think that they need to target at least two starting pitchers. DeGrom's obviously going to be the number one. You need a 2 and a 3, and then realistically, Walker and Carrasco are your, 4 or 5. That's realistically what it should be. Carrasco posted over a 6 ERA in 2021. Over a 4 ERA for Walker, which would make him the 3 or 4 in most rotations. That are solid. They could go after a Ray, a Gosman. They've shown interest a lot in Gosman over the recent. But, yeah, I think that they're going to make that. They definitely need to make some moves there. But let's go ahead and talk about Marcus Stroman. He said that the Mets prefer to sign other pitchers to free agent contracts over me. That's just what he said. And he said, the source says me. He also said, I would love to be back on the squad next year. I've proven that I can pitch in New York. Others usually crumble under that New York pressure. However, I know a source who says the front office rather the other pitchers on the market. I'm going to dominate wherever I end up. That's what he said. So there's been a lot of interest in Marcus Stroman, and as there should be. This guy posted a 10-13 record with a 3.02 ERA with a 1.14 WHIP in 2021 and 148 strikeouts and 179 innings across 33 starts. There's been some interest from teams such as the Boston Red Sox, Chicago Cubs, San Francisco Giants, and Los Angeles Angels this offseason, and from the Mariners as well. So he's not going back to the Mets. That's another team we can rule off the Marcus Stroman sweepstakes clearly, because he said that he didn't want to go to the White Sox. He would never sign with the White Sox. Not going to go to the Mets either. So yeah. That's going to be the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and turn notifications, because like I said,